And I'm back with this Eldar playthrough that I really wasn't for certain if I should bother continuing it. It's always easier at the end of a recording session that's going wrong to say like, oh, well, I won't cut this, I'll just come back and finish it later, and if I die, I die. But when you've been away for a week or two, you know, there's a little bit less of a drive to keep trying to push on this thing that ain't working. Now, as I've said plenty in the previous episodes, somewhere here I went wrong. Part of this, I believe, is probably bad placement, but how many Bone Singer Chantries did I build? Yeah, I went for 2. I probably should have went for 1. And I should have pushed for more units running around, capturing outposts. Now, if memory serves, yeah, they got a Necron City right here. I don't remember how much of this game I can actually remember. I can't remember how much I remember. Wow. That's good. Either which way, I remember this Necron City up here thinking it's probably going to be a problem in the future, so those probably will be the ones to wipe us out. Necrons, they're usually my bane. Unless I have some kind of absurd Titan that can wipe out their units as a single turn. I just am bad about actually hyper-focusing damage to annihilate one unit instead of spreading it out, which is what I tend to do most of the time. Which usually works fine against Orcs or Imperial Guard or Tyranids, especially because most of their units are pretty weak and just numerous. So spreading the damage around isn't that bad. Okay, now we've got, let's see, a deficit of energy. And other than that, you know, this actually isn't as bad as I remember it being. We've certainly got a good mineral income. Let's see. Now, we expanded here onto this skull altar, which should be increasing our influence upkeep and output, yes. So we will be wanting to put in more influence buildings. We could use more energy, though. And which of our cities, let's see, there's more desert tiles on Lambruth, yeah. So we will be expanding Lambruth into somewhere where we can put in an energy building, because we evidently need that. I may have had a plan in the previous episode, but if I did, I've forgotten it. We'll take this tile and we'll remove the Imperial Ruins on it at some point. Let's see. Kadisanad will do something probably similar. Can we afford to put out a vehicle here? No, we can't. Shining Spears, I suppose, but they take so long. But I need to get over my whole thing against long building times. I need to get over that desire for immediate satisfaction. Let's see here. We've got research here. Do I really need research? I'm putting out 49 research a turn. That's pretty good. Probably be better for me to not invest in that, especially considering I'm not playing the Tau anymore, so I don't really have as much motivation to build research buildings. So, let's see. Just use something on this building slot already. We could just tell the city to do nothing, though. We could also tear up... Those are rocks, okay. I'm going to actually skip this city just to save on resources a little bit. Let's see here. I should be looking into heroes, honestly. Let's see. We will go ahead and go for... sure, let's increase the production on vehicle buildings. Let's see. We've got a hero building somewhere, don't we? Kadisanad has one, right? It does. It can put out an Autarch. An Autarch would take pretty well all of my influence, but I don't know what abilities he's got. He might have a really good ability that could turn their game around for me. I don't know. So I'll grab him. Let's see. Alright, first let's go to Lambruth. We're going to need an energy building. Let's first focus on getting rid of the... Oh, no, wait, let's not do that. Let's not... oh, okay, never mind. That order didn't go through. Alright, then let's put in an energy building on this new tile I just picked up, because we will need it. Kadisanad, we can put in another building. Let's go ahead and do that, I suppose. Yeah, let's spring for another mineral building, just because it'll increase the amount of units we could put out, and ideally we'll be able to use an increased mineral output to pull it out from the rear here. Pull it out from the rear. Wow, I can't believe I just said that. Alright, let's see. Wow, our research time is really good. Well, we can remove the cost of activating webway gates. It's unlikely we'll ever get around to activating any except this one. As a matter of fact, are there any left on the map? No, there is one neutral webway gate left. Yeah, that's bad. Ah. We want to produce more units then. But we don't have the money just yet. Webway cartography. Okay. Let's go ahead and start springing for some units because we'll probably need them in the future. I'll spring for a fire prism right now in Lambeth. And that will take up the remainder of my money. I can spend production, though, to clear this garbage off of this tile, though. Clear off that Imperial Ruin. Carissanod does not have the same capability. We can spend a little bit of minerals and influence, though, to expand the city's tiles. But we're going to be at an influence deficit once we get that hero out. This is just not a great situation here. Nonetheless, though, I might want to go ahead and just take this tile here, maybe? Just not great city placement. I shouldn't have sprung for the very first webway gate I saw. I always go a bit nuts when I see a Ruins of Vol, but Ruins of Vol are really only crazy good to get on your very first city, it seems to me. Of course, I don't know the meta. Let's see. Oh, this is a good tile. I might go for that. Some minerals would be nice. At the same time, we're probably going to need food in the future, and we're going to need influence very soon, and Lambeth is our energy and influence city. So, those are the two resources we've been the most stuck for. So, it's probably best for me to actually go for whatever tile is best for food here, which is this tile. So, we'll go for that. Even though Carissanod's not going to be a good food city, it's going to have to be the food city, because food is a very hard resource to come by. I've observed this before, but it does seem like the RNG chances of getting a grass tile are pretty slim. Alright, we have researched another hero. That's cool. Okay, Lambeth has taken out the Imperial Ruins. I thought I already told them to take out the Imperial Ruins on this tile, but there may have been another piece of junk that was filling up that space, so I'll order them to do that instead. I'll take them a little bit. And in Carissanod, let's see, we have expanded onto this tile with this wireweed, so that is free, so we'll do that. Let's see, what is the loyalty in either of these cities? I'm willing to bet not good. No, it's bad. Do we have the free influence that we can just spend for that? That can at the very least make Lambeth a little bit less slow. Let's see, Expert Hunter. That does actually sound quite good. I'm also curious about springing for Rangers, but I don't have that much food, so that'd be kind of a waste. Probably best then to go with Vol's Wrath Support Battery. Well, I'm probably going to end up fighting a defensive war sometime soon, so artillery would be a good choice. Assuming it's got a decent range, which, let's see, a range of 3. That's not bad. It's also a monofilament unit. It scales the accuracy with the maximum movement of the target unit. Oh, so it does more damage the faster the enemy unit is. That's a curious ability. Alright, that's an interesting unit. Okay. Right, now in Lambeth, we've cleared off the junk off that tile. We could also use more influence, so I may just spring for that already. Go ahead and go for that. Let's see. The population cap has run wildly out of control, but so has everything else, and there's a lot more that I'm worried about than population cap, because I still don't know what that does. It's a very unclear feature. So, I'm also going to save money by putting Carissanod on ruin clearing duty. Let's see. We'll go for the Hornet. We'll just go down the vehicle tree for a little bit, because it's unlikely I'm going to be able to afford anything else anytime soon. I'm just very lacking for anything that is not minerals. Pretty well every resource, yeah, except minerals. I guess energy, it could be worse. I am making a little bit of a kind of savings there. Developing a bit of a wealth there. Because it's not just about income, it's also about wealth. Keep that in mind when studying economics, folks. Let's see. There we go. We'll go for an artillery battery, and that will take up most of our money. And with that, we will not be able to produce anything of substance except a food building. There we go. Alright, and we can research something else. Let's see. The Wave Serpent. That's a classic. Skimmer transport unit. I'm not going to be moving any units anytime soon. Let's see. Is there something else I can go for then that would be good? Or do we have any vehicle buffs? Warshout. What is that? Oh, Howling Banshees. Yeah, I don't have the food necessary to support an infantry setup. Armor. Infantry armor. Pass. Let's see. Hammer of Wrath looks like it'd be good on several vehicles. So, at the very least, the Shining Spears. So, I'll go for that. Alright, we'll end the turn. Part of the thing here, inevitably, is playing any race for the first time, you don't know what the really good units in the early game are. So, if I knew, for instance, like, Shining Spears seemed pretty good for the little bit of time I spent with them. If I were to do a new Eldar playthrough, I'd be more likely to just rush straight for Shining Spears. At least in a mineral-heavy place like this. Which, keeping in mind what your best early vehicle is probably smart for every race that you're going to play. Because it is so high a possibility that you will spawn on terrain that is bad for food. Be it desert or volcanic. Because realistically speaking, like, let's see. Desert is bad for food. Volcanic is bad for food. Do we have snow somewhere in sight? Tundra? Tundra's okay for food. Savannah is okay for food. Grassland is the only one that's really good for food. But for there'd only be one tile set that's good for food. I believe volcanic, desert, and snow are all bad for food. So that's 3 tile sets that are bad for food. Yeah, grassland has, there you go, plus 20% food. That is pretty good. Desert has minus 20% food. Volcanic has minus 20% food. Snow, I can't see snow anywhere immediately around me. There might not even be a snow biome on this map. But snow, if memory serves... Oh, actually, I can pull open the Civilopedia here, which is not called the Civilopedia, but I don't care. Let's see. Features? This doesn't seem right. Though, oh no, this is the right area. Okay, there's tundra, but where is... What would the biome name for snow be called? Arctic. Arctic is also minus 20% food. There is brush that increases 10% food, but not by much. So, realistically speaking, running an infantry setup is pretty rare. It's unlikely that you'll be able to do it as anyone other than orcs, unless you happen to luckily spawn on a food biome. So, generally speaking, you should be more likely to go for vehicles, it seems to me. So that is something, I guess, to keep in mind in the future. Because in my head, I'll be honest. I've been saying in several of these videos, well, it just seems like you never spawn on grass tiles. And it didn't make sense to me why that was. I was kind of wondering, like, am I experiencing here, what's that name of that bias? Where it's not observation bias, but something like that. Where there's not actually any lower chance of spawning on grassland. It's just because I keep happening to not spawn on grassland or something like that. But no, it's not even that I keep happening to not spawn on grassland. It's just that when I think about, like, well, I never get to run, infantry-based armies, it's because about half the tile sets of the game actively discourage infantry building. Which, I mean, it's the world of Warhammer 40k. Of course, most of the world is supposed to be a hell zone. So that makes sense. But that is something to keep in mind strategy-wise going forward, because there are, realistically speaking, from what I was able to remember, there's 3 tile sets that are anti-food, 2 that are ambivalent, and 1 that is pro-food, so to speak. So there's only really a 1/6 chance that your starting city, or really any city, will have good placement for building a lot of infantry. It's smarter going in with any race except the Space Marine Sisters of Battle or Necrons, knowing that you're going to be very vehicle-focused. Okay, I'm learning. Slowly but surely, though I think it helps. Last time I was recording Eldar, I was not thinking clearly. I don't know why that was. I don't know if I was recording later in the day, if I'd just done a bunch of recording earlier in the day, if I just hadn't slept properly, which, let's see. We put in that energy building. Excellent. Let's see. And we do have a vehicle building running. What do we want to put in next? And we do have an influence building up, so when the autarch comes out, he isn't going to put us at a real bad influence deficit. With that wave serpent coming out, we're going to have at least some forces on the ground. This is... Hey, it looks like I might actually be getting to a decent position for turn 99. No. Okay, let's see. The Shrine of Cain turns out influence and research. I should probably spring for one of those here. Get the ability to turn out heroes may be quite good here, depending on what the heroes can do. So I will spring for that. Okay, meanwhile in Carissanod, let's see. We've put in a food building. Okay, but we're going to want to put in more mineral buildings in the future, because we are going to need to develop a military, because our military is horrifically underdeveloped. So we will go for this river tile here that will get us a great plus 40% minerals. Hammer of Wrath. Okay, Carissanod has expanded. They're ready to put in a mineral building. Excellent. Meanwhile, down in Lambeth, they're still working on the hero building. Let's keep focusing on vehicles here if we can. Let's see. Hollow Fields. Grants them invulnerability damage reduction after having moved. Fascinating. Star Engine. Increases their movement of vehicles. The Scorpion. A super heavy skimmer tank that is unstoppable when on the move. Okay, these all seem quite good. I might spring for them, yes. Let's go for the Scorpion. The Scorpion is probably good to start building. It'll probably be expensive, but honestly, money is... The mineral output... I've got a... Oh, I don't have a considerable mineral wealth. I was about to say I have a considerable mineral wealth, but I don't. Oh, Wraith Blades cost a mineral upkeep instead of a food upkeep, unlike most infantry. That's good to know. Okay, let's see. I put in a mineral building in Carissanod. Let us put in another one. Okay, let's see. We also... Lambeth is still working. Let's see. What other unit buildings do we have in Lambeth? We do have the ability to put out some Guardians or some Wraith Blades. I'm halfway curious what Wraith Blades do. So, I'm going... This may be a bad choice, but I'm going for it. 13 turns. I'll check them out when we get them in the 13 turns. They'll probably be wrecked by anything that is on the board by now. Okay, we've got an Artark. That's our first hero. Our first hero at turn 102. I have made some mistakes. Let's see. He has a Haywire Grenade. He has a Plasma Grenade. Plasma Grenade, what is that? That's an anti-infantry grenade, right? That looks like an anti-infantry grenade. It's Blast. The Haywire Grenade is an anti-vehicle grenade. Let's see. He also has the ability to jump. He's got those wings. Let's see. Ancient Doom, Battle Focus, Force Shield, excuse me. 33% invulnerable damage reduction. Wow. That's pretty nuts. And he is a Psyker, really? And because he's a hero, he also has plus 50% damage reduction against anything else that isn't a hero, I believe. I want to say that's how that works. So, okay. Yeah, this guy... it looks like a bit of a tanky hero, maybe. I may be misestimating him here. Let's see. He's got 3 spells. And at number 4... What? Whoa! Doubles outputs from all outposts. Oh, I have made a mistake. Oh, that's good. That's really good in the early game. Wow. Yeah, I should have got this guy way earlier. Okay, I'm starting to get it now. Really, I guess anytime you play a race for the first time in Gladius, the first time will always be a dud. So, nonetheless, that is great. That is very, very good in the early game. That's honestly so... That sounds like it'd be so good that once you get, like, crazy hero production, if you're going for a very long, slow game where everyone's turtling, which is the kind I generally enjoy because I'm a crazy person, that would be crazy well into the late game. That kind of sounds similar to the setup that the Space Marines have and the Tau have of getting a hero who can just stack loads of loyalty onto your cities. That is really, really good. Wow, okay. Okay, his 3 spells, though, that he gets before level 6, though we might... That's so good, We've got a Jakaro outpost here. I'm almost tempted to go down there and just buy that instant leveling thing, because that is so good. Okay, Cain's Might increases melee attacks of the Autarch. Okay, he's not a very support-heavy hero, I guess. Oh, never mind. There's a support spell, though not a crazy one. Increases accuracy of allied craft world Eldar units in a 3-tile radius. That's nice. It's only a 5% accuracy increase, but still a 3-tile radius. Kind of encourages the Eldar to be a bit spammy, though, because that's really more quantity over quality as buffs go. And similarly increases the damage of nearby units. Okay, we'll put a little bit into all of them, but then we'll put the rest into Kane's Might. Oh, we've got more points that we can spend. Command or Assault? I'm going to wager we're going to have a lot of ranged units. The Eldar seem like a bit of a shooty army. What's the cooldown on the jump pack? Not bad. I might go for it, just for fun. There you go. This guy seems cool. I'm going to go explore around with him, see if he can't have some fun. Let's see. We can also, let's see, we've got a little bit of a wealth of resources here, but we're going to want to get another energy building in Lambeth, because we are not going to be losing, we're not going to be, you know, getting that from anywhere else. We can spring for another hero. I am curious about the Spirit Seer. The Spirit Seer is supposed to be the dedicated Psyker, right? Because Autarchs are Psykers, but their primary purpose is not supposed to be as Psykers. They're supposed to be, like, the ultimate representation of the aspect warrior side of Eldar culture, I believe. Though I am far from an Eldar lore expert. I am far from an expert on any Warhammer 40k lore. I've read a couple army books, and I have watched If the Emperor Had a Text-to-Speech Device. It's not exactly... I played Dawn of War 1 back in the day. It's not exactly the kind of setup for being a lore expert. Let's see, the Spirit Seer. Wow, that's actually very cheap. That is remarkably cheap. Yeah, I'll take it. Absolutely, yes. And he's a Psyker, so naturally he costs energy. I need to look into Psykers more. They seem like they could be really good if you spam them, especially, well, with the Imperial Guard, because the Imperial Guard can just... has a non-hero Psyker, the regular Psyker brigade, that they can just spam like maniacs. Let's see, we can also go for a hero here. We won't. Not just yet. Tuning out more Autarchs, if I was able to get a good influence game going, would be nice, though. Okay, let's see. Now the Autarch can just freely roam around. I am curious about that Jakaro encampment, getting that level on him. Okay, let's see here. In Carissanod, we can put in another building. We've put in a mineral building. We're getting 50 minerals a turn. That is quite good. We could use more influence and more energy. The more minerals we make in Carissanod, the more we can put towards building stuff in Lambeth. However, Carissanod could also probably stand to have a loyalty building put in, because those are important. So we will spring for that right there. No, actually, let's spring for a food building right now. No, loyalty building is more dangerous to ignore. So we'll put a loyalty building in right there in Carissanod. Okay. Now, presumably, the Space Marines have started to... Wow, I spawned really close to the Space Marines. Presumably, the Space Marines have taken a lot of the outposts, and it's going to be a hard fight for them. But we can at the very least get some idea of what's going on around here. Here in Lambeth, let's see, we can put in another building. We've put in an influence building, didn't we? No, we put in an energy building. Well, we're going to need another one to deal with the incoming deficit. And at the same time, no, we need to put in an energy building. I've got more of a wealth built up of influence than I do energy, so I can afford to do that. I'm curious about spending a bit of influence to get a loyalty boost in Carissanod. You know what? I'm going to go for it. Better to spend it than to not. It occurs to me now that in the previous part I recorded of the Eldar, I was remarking on how loud the sound seemed when you activate the Transcendent Bliss ability. And I believe that is because while I have the OBS set to not record the game audio that loudly, I do have the volume turned up on my earbuds. So that even though the game is quite a bit quieter for you guys than me, it is still fairly loud for me. Which is not a luxury I get when I'm recording with the other guys on the mainline group Devolution channel, as I inevitably have to make the game quite a bit quieter than them, and naturally I need to hear both the game and them at the same time, so it's not a luxury I get there. Let's see. Lambeth has got another energy building in. Okay, we can afford to put in another influence building then. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So we'll do just that. And in Carissanod, we've put in a loyalty building. It looks quite good. We're going to need more in the future, but that's an investment for the future. That's a problem for the future me to deal with. We have a Scorpion. No, we do not. We have the Scorpion researched. Either which way, this is, let's see, twin-linked pulsar guns. It's got lots of armor penetration, lots of accuracy. Attacks a couple times, big damage. Quite a big range, very nice. Reduces accuracy after moving, though. That is unfortunate. It also has the shuriken cannon. It puts out a lot of attacks that don't do a whole lot of damage. It's just there to harass people at short range. Let's see, he's got the Titan hollow fields, so he takes 17% less damage when moving. And if we can also upgrade his vehicle armor. Let's see, wasn't there something else? He gets an increased movement. Okay, he does not get the Titan Holofields upgrade from the research tree. That upgrade in the research tree just simply gives the Scorpion's unique ability to other units. Okay. Let's see, these Val's Wrath support batteries, let's see. You would probably be best to be put right there. The Necrons, I don't know if they have many flyers. We can steal a couple of these outposts with the Autarch here. I'm just going to go ahead and do it because it's funny. Let's see, the Fire Prism has, let's see, the Prism Cannon. It can be in Lance style, focused, or dispersed. Alright, okay. Lance is armor piercing. Focused is a big blast that hits multiple people. Dispersed even more so. Okay, so it's depending on whether you're aiming for a single vehicle or if you're shooting into a crowd of infantry. Good to know that it's got variety. He can also activate Linked Fire to double the damage, increase the armor penetration. He can only do it once a turn, and it reduces the range. Okay, interesting. That is a very flexible unit. That's cool to see. Let's see. We can team him up with the Guardians and the Shining Spears. And we could maybe push in on some of the Imperial Guard outposts, but I'm going to hold back on that. For now, the Fire Prism we're going to be keeping around to help the defensive force we've got running here. The Guardians and the Shining Spears. Now, let's see. Here in Lambeth, we can also get to work on another vehicle. Let's see. Considering the low upkeep, I'm gonna go for, yeah, Shining Spears. There we go. And Chrysanod, we can put in another vehicle as well. So, I'm gonna spring for some Shining Spears here, too. They're a fast unit, they hit hard, and they're cheap. That sounds like a pretty good setup right there. Star Engines increase the movement speed of all of my tank units. That does sound quite good. Hollow Fields would also increase the damage resistance when moving for all my tanks except the Scorpion, because the Scorpion already has it. That is a bit of an odd ability. Let's see. Increases the armor penetration of heavy weapons. That does sound quite good. Vectored Engines. Grants the ability to temporarily increase armor against enemy ranged weapons on my tanks. I'll go for that. Why not? What are these? Increases energy gain when Eldar units die. That is weird. Grants the ability to temporarily increase the accuracy of tanks. Eldar seem to have really good tanks. In general, Gladius seems like a very vehicle-heavy game. A very tank warfare-heavy game. Not that I'm particularly complaining. We'll let the Fire Prism do a little bit of scouting before we sit it down to camp with the other units I've got holding the borders. The Autarch will keep going around stealing stuff from the Necrons, because it's funny. And I enjoy the extra resources. It's nice and convenient and makes it where I don't have to worry so much about building things. When you're at this level of poverty, as I am, the ability to just get free stuff like that is really good, and I like it. Let's see, I'm cautious about pushing up the borders of Chrysanod onto that tile, because the Necrons could take it, and if they get within the city walls, that gives them a variety of buffs, I believe. So, let's see, alternative avenues of expansion. Let's see, these Imperial Ruins we could put some mineral buildings in on. I would like to have more minerals, because I'm going to be putting out more military units. However, as it stands, yeah, this is probably the most secure place to put it. Yeah, I could probably stand to put one here, get rid of that wireweed, and make it easier for units to move in and out of Chrysanod. I'd love to plant some wireweed right north of Chrysanod. You'd really think that one of the races would have figured out how to do that by now. The Eldar probably know how, they probably just don't want to do it anymore. It seems like their jam. Okay, let's see. The Eldar. The city of Lambeth. We need more energy. Story of my life. Let's see. Yeah, this is probably the best tile to do it, and we'll clear out the wire weed. Yeah, well, no, let's hold off on that, because we'll be able to clear out the wire weed, but we won't be able to clear out the brush. Or not the brush, excuse me. The rocks. There you go. Rocks cannot be removed as a resource. Unless you're the Tyranids. You can probably just eat it as the Tyranids. After I put in a energy building, I'm definitely going to need to put in a loyalty building, though, because that is a problem for me. There we go. Oh, the tower gone. I never even met them. Didn't know they existed. Well, how about that? Yeah, the Space Marines and Necrons have been taking it easy on me because of them. That is pretty well a certainty. Let's see. Are we in range of that Fortress of Solitude? It seems not. Fortress of Solitude? No, Fortress of Redemption. What is this, Superman? Let's see. Just scouting around, seeing what I can steal here. The Necrons have another city right there. Good to know where that is. Gotta put their city in the middle of the map there. I'm probably trying to forward settle on the Tau. Though I may be applying a degree more strategy to the Necron AI than actually exists. Okay. We're going to be able to put in another building in Lambeth, and we are about to get, yes, a Spirit Seer. The specific Psyker unit that the Eldar are supposed to use. Let's see. Spirit Mark increases the accuracy of nearby mech units, if you're into that. And I do think that the Eldar have some cool-looking meth units. Yeah, meth. Crystal meth. That seems like more of an Imperium thing. At least from my historical knowledge, generally fascists are big on meth. Let's see. Same usual Eldar abilities, it looks like. Yeah. Okay, nothing unique on his own, which isn't surprising. That's how Psykers usually roll. Let's see, he does have 4 movement. That's pretty good for a hero, isn't it? Oh, no, that's just standard for Eldar. Okay. But yeah, he increases accuracy of nearby Wraith mechs. And what are these? Okay. Renewer Destructor, a spell that can be used on friendly units to heal them, or use it on enemy units to deal damage. Okay, wait a second. So this guy, for all intents and purposes, while he may have the generic 4 abilities you would expect from any hero unit, he actually really has 6 abilities. He has 3 buff spells and 3 debuff spells / attack spells. Okay. Protect Jinx, increases armor or reduces armor, depending on whether you're targeting a friendly unit or an enemy unit. Restores morale or damages morale, depending on whether you're targeting a friendly or enemy unit. By the way, what is this? The Witch Staff. Range of 1, armor penetration of 2. Increases damage against infantry and monsters. It's a melee attack. Deals damage each turn. What does that mean? I would hope that a weapon deals damage on the turn you use it. But is that meaning that it applies a damage over time effect, like it poisons them? Also has big armor penetration. That's nice. Okay. And let's see. For the final ability, Hallucination reduces the damage of an enemy unit by 50% for 3 turns. That's not crazy. The Autarch, like that's not game-changing like the Autarch's ability or the Ethereal's ability he gets to that tier. But that's not really, it's not really that bad that the Spirit Seer doesn't have anything that crazy for a tier 4 ability, because this just seems good on its own. Yeah, I will get 1 of each spell. And then I will also put points into Renewer Destructor, because that seems really good. Wow. Yeah, that seems nice. Let's move him here. Now, hang on. Let's not move on to the next unit just yet, because I am curious. So, let's see. He has a cooldown of 2 turns on each of his spells. Now, if we put the Protect spell on these Guardians, that applies for 1 turn, and that only puts a cooldown on that spell. The Spirit Seer can just bust out all the spells whenever he wants, as long as they're not on cooldown, and with a cooldown of only 2 turns, that's pretty nice. Okay. Very, very interesting. Very good. Shockingly enough, the Eldar may have good Psykers. This may be a revelation for some former 40k players. Let's see. Of course, I'm sure on the tabletop they probably had plenty of bad Psykers. That's tabletop balance and lore can often be very different things. I remember being very confused with Warhammer Fantasy when I looked up the rules for a Slan Mage Priest, who, in the Warhammer Fantasy setting, are the very best wizards in the setting. Bar none, save maybe, like, Zinchian Demon Princes. And, you know, the Total War Warhammer game tries to reflect that by giving them a lot of unique abilities and making it so their spells recharge faster, and now in Warhammer 3, their spells do more damage. You can get the idea. But on the tabletop, no, it looked like the Slam were just kind of the usual spellcasters. They weren't particularly good at it. It's weird how Games Workshop can balance some of these things. Nonetheless, we need a loyalty building here in Lambruth, so I will go ahead and put one in here. I am later going to have to tear up that urban ruin because it is taking up valuable space. Really, the time I put towards building more Bonesinger's Chantries, I should have put towards building more loyalty buildings, because they can have the same effect of it reducing build times. But the loyalty building just increases your output of everything, not just your build times. So, that was my mistake. One Bonesinger's Chantry is good. One Bonesinger's Chantry is good. I need to try that in my next few games, not to go too nuts. Maybe if you're playing like the Tower Mechanicus, who have such crazy rewards from building your cities properly, it can be really good. But even then, you run some risks, you know? Well, especially with Mechanicus, because unless you've got all of your buildings that produce buildings in the same tile, it will instead cause debuffs, because the Mechanicus, their whole thing is they don't want diverse buildings in a given tile. They want every tile to be specialized into one type of building, which you have 3 or 4 instances of on that tile. Okay, now we expanded here, Courtisanad, onto this tile. Did I want to put in minerals, or did I want to put in loyalty? I don't remember. I may have wanted to put in population cap, because Lord knows this city probably needs it, but I don't know what effect that's having. Gotta have my priorities, I suppose, so let's go for the mineral building. There we go. Was that what I was going for? I'm losing my mind. What was I building here? If I wanted to produce minerals, would I have gone for this tile? I guess I would have. I'm losing my mind. Courtisanad can also produce a hero unit. They will not, because I do not have the resources. Actually, Spirit Seers are pretty cheap. I'm gonna get another one. The Autarch's considerably more expensive, but I'm gonna spring for that. That is a super cheap hero. Wow, that is like half the cost of an Autarch. That's crazy. Let's see, we'll keep having the Fire Prism and the Autarch scout around. It's a little bit late in the game for me to be doing some scouting. Wow, the Necrons have 3 cities. I don't like that. See, I envy the Necrons sometimes, because the Necron Lord means that they don't have to worry about building population cap buildings, which I find so annoying. Okay, now I know there's got to be a Fortress of Redemption on that outpost, because the Space Marines have put out a ton. We're at turn 100, and they get one every, what, 10 turns? So that means they would have 10 Fortresses of Redemption. I don't like that. We're just going to have this Spirit Singer hang out on this tile. Spirit Seer. Well, he could be a Spirit Singer, too. The Eldar are weird like that. Let's see. We can put in another mineral building on this Imperial Ruins tile. I will do just that because I am going to need plenty. Okay, we can spring for... Well, we got some options, that's for certain. The Wave Serpent I'm still not into. Ooh, a Farseer Skyrunner. Fast jet biker psyker hero. We'll probably want to spring for her and for the Avatar of Cain. And you can tell that I played Dawn of War a lot as a kid, because I always assume all Farseers must be women. Okay, Assault Marines. Oh, these guys are going to get wrecked. Upsie doodles. Okay, so it seems like with Eldar vehicles, if they especially get invulnerability damage saves when they are on the run. Huh. Yeah, let's hold off on using this just for now. We may not need it. It seems like Eldar units want to sit still when they're focused on doing damage, and they want to be on the move when they're focused on tanking. Very, very good. Who are the Space Marines even fighting? It doesn't seem like they're fighting the Necrons. This is a big forest. Wow, that's a lot of forest. That seems like that's good ambush territory, which is bad for me. At the very least, the Autarch has the jump pack that allows him to get out of bad situations, so he is a smart unit to send to scout in that way. Oh, the AI is moving around a lot of units. You can tell by how long it's taking between turns. That is an unusual amount of time. Let's see. Let's cycle the weapon back to Lance, just in case we get ambushed by some other kind of unit. There's probably a Fortress of Redemption right here, so this is probably the extent of where we can go. Oh, my. It's only tactical Marines. And they didn't even get an Overwatch. I guess because of this forest here? I don't know. It's unclear. Let's see. We will go for this variant. Yes, the focused variant of the Prism Cannon. Very, very good. Okay. Lambeth is ready to put in a building. We are at an energy deficit yet again. And we are losing quite a lot of it. And we don't have very much of a wealth of it. So, we will... Let's see. What did I put in here? I put an infantry building here. I thought I was building a loyalty building. Wow. The misplays everywhere. I can't believe I did that. I'm almost kind of impressed. We have very much hit the population cap here, but I need to still put in a loyalty building, and now I need to put in an energy building. Because, hoo boy, do we need it. I need to, once I get an energy building up, then put in another energy building, because I have been so far satisfied just breaking even, and I really shouldn't be for the amount of units I'm putting out that will end up costing energy. Whew, now that's some mineral output. I will expand onto that tile, yes sir. Okay. Now, let's see. We're going to research the Avatar of Cain as well. Now, who knows when I'll get to build him. I'm almost tempted to just spam a hero-focused army, because that would be stupid. But at the very least, I am getting... Oh, well, there goes a lot of my influence wealth, actually. Never mind to that idea. Oh, there go these tactical Marines. They're not dead yet, but they're on death's door. Oh boy. At the very least, this might be a mistake, a fool mistake for me, because I'm putting the Space Marines on notice a bit, which is the exact opposite of what I want to do. I am scared of those guys. But at the very least, it does feel good to kill them. Let's see, Wraith Blades, that's a big old pool of health. That's quite a bit of armor, so these guys are pretty tanky, good morale. They got that many actions, that much movement, that much levels. Okay, and their melee weapon is a Ghost Axe. It's got low accuracy for a melee weapon, and of course, it's a melee weapon, so it only has a range of 1. Nonetheless, it attacks 5 times for about 4 damage each. And it's got good armor penetration. Okay. And as special abilities go, they don't really have anything special except the invulnerability damage reduction. Very nice. Okay, this seems like actually a very tanky unit. Alright. Yeah, definitely a good solid front rank unit there. Oh, I hate Necrons. Let's see. Kadisanad. I almost feel like Necrons are the kind of army that if you're not very good at the game, they're a menace, but once you actually know the game, they're probably trash. I could be wrong, though, because they can spend influence to rush buildings, and that's the exact kind of thing that makes a given faction strong in most strategy games. I will hold off on building a vehicle just yet. I am at a considerable deficit of everything that is not minerals. Well, food we're not bad for, actually. And I similarly will not be putting out any more infantry here in Lambeth. Gotta love water. Alright, let's see. Avatar of Cain. He is... What is all this? Oh, good lord. 8 armor, 30 health. That's pretty good for him to just be one hero by himself. 12 morale, 4 moves, 3 sight range, 6 item slots, cargo slots. He doesn't have cargo slots. Yeah, you can't stuff dudes inside the Avatar of Cain. He has the Wailing Doom. It's a big sword. It has 10 armor penetration. That is the highest armor penetration I've ever seen. 100% accuracy. It hits twice for 6 damage. And he also has a ranged version of it. The sword shoots fire, I guess. Hyper accurate, does quite a bit of damage, good armor penetration, short range. Okay. He is a demon. So he gets considerably increased invulnerable damage reduction, Ancient Doom, Battle Focus. What the? Oh, immune to fire weapons. Okay, I thought for a second it was saying that he can't take any damage. I was about to say, like, do you just focus on building the Avatar of Cain and ignore everything else? Is that the strat with the Eldar? See, he's a hero, he is a monster, so he's got big damage resistances. He moves through cover. You can only build one of him, that makes sense. He has, as actions, he can take. He has an aura of fear, so he reduces the morale of all nearby units. Enemy units, excuse me. And Cain Awakened. For all nearby units, he grants immunity to fear, increased morale, increased melee damage, and he has the Hammer of Wrath, and he can also go shopping. That seems like that would be a difficult customer to deal with. Let's see. Okay, it's time to pull the Autarch out. He's explored about as much as I feel he can explore. These Shining Spears can be moved on up. Now, let's form a little bit of a border wall here near my webway gate. Set these guys to hold the line. I'm curious about claiming this webway gate at some point in the future to make another city. At the current energy deficit I'm suffering, that might not be a great idea, though. Let's see. How much... If we put in a city right there, it would be a Bonesinger's Chantry, would put out probably one ore, one research, and lose 3 energy. And it would increase growth by that much. And also, it would put in a webway redoubt. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do all cities get a webway redoubt? They do, which does cover for the amount of resources it would be losing in the process. Okay. It would be a loyalty hit to both of my cities. At the same time, it could stand to gain me more money. Let's see. It would cost 120 influence to build a 3rd city. So, we would have to get the influence up in both of my cities to get to that point. Okay. Let's see. Lambroth is ready to expand. We are not making any energy, so we need to expand to a good energy spot. Hang on, we're going to want to tear up these Imperial Ruins, actually, instead of expanding. And Karesanad, we can go ahead and expand, or we can put in more mineral buildings. Putting in more mineral buildings does sound quite good. It always sounds good, admittedly. But, yeah, another mineral building here sounds like the way to go, because it'll just help to support the Civ going forwards. We've got the Avatar of Cain, so now we can go forth on... Warlocks would probably be really good. Oh, and they'd probably cost energy upkeep instead of minerals. And they probably should have gone for... Probably should have just focused on hitting them. Ah, well, that's the mistake you make. It is what it is. Are the Necrons going to try and deal with the Autarch? They might. The Autarch might have made them angry. We'll see. I don't really care that much, I guess. The Autarch hasn't leveled up enough to really pick up that skill that I want from him anyways. You know, I'm curious, how much damage could these Shining Spears... These Shining Spears could do a lot of damage to that Fortress of Redemption. They'd probably take a lot of damage, though, so... Let's just keep them floating around somewhere. Okay, the Wraith Blades, we will move up a bit. The issue is not the Fortress of Redemption by itself. The issue is the potential reinforcements the Space Marines could send in. Alright. This is probably actually a good place for me to wrap up this episode. So, I am actually surprised at how the AI has been merciful towards me. I figured the Necron settling here meant that it was about time to wrap this playthrough up. This clearly isn't going as well as I would like it to, but it's going better than it was in the previous episode, which is nice. I'm starting to figure out what makes the Eldar good in a lot of ways, and I'm also hopefully figuring out where I went wrong, which is a lot more progress than I had in the previous part. So ideally I can keep this rolling and maybe glide by in the background in future parts towards some kind of success. So with all that said, I'll be seeing you folks later. Bye!